Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Saturday morning here at Ladasa Fire Camp for the McKinley Fire. Kel Casey, your host for the Break It Down session. 9:30 a.m., last day of August, right here. So we're up to 88% containment. And for those of you who know that we got a little bit of moisture in Willow and Caswell in the area last night, let's break that down. Our incident meteorologist, Mark, says that we got 3/100ths of an inch. You need more than that to even change the drought meter. However, that will add a base layer of moisture and high humidities, which is really good. Challenges for us are that it can add a slick layer to the ash and the trails that we've been pounding containment line on, especially around the Hidden Hills area of the fire. It also gets our signboards wet, so we put up our what we call pallet covers. These are what we use to cover pallets of gear at the supply cache. We put them on the signboards. It can also disguise the ash pits by taking out a little bit of the heat on the top, but of course the heat's hidden down below, as we know. We have 552 firefighters on board, totally committed to getting deeper containment. We've been using the drones to go ahead and look at structures and fire line to look for areas of radiant heat to see if we have any issues. And so those drones are working the fire. They become a force multiplier because instead of hiking somebody in there with maybe a Palm IR infrared camera is what we also have, then you can just have one operator check several miles of fire line, come back, review it, share it with the division supervisors. In order to get black line on the map, the division supervisor who's in charge of that area of the fire needs to sign off and say, yes, I'm going to put my name and reputation on this piece of line. Then the operations chief has to also do the same. And then of course the team does the same. So there's a lot of pride when it comes to containment. It's one of these mysterious words. It doesn't mean the fire's out. It doesn't mean that there's 0% chance that it's going to jump, but it means we've established a control line. We're fairly confident under most situations it's going to hold. And then every day we're working to get deeper and deeper and deeper into the fire, creating a bigger, broad band of mopped up area without the trees in the way. So the tree issue with falling trees means the crews are going to continue to cut. They'll have plenty of work to do over the next couple weeks, even with the containment up to 88%. Gene is behind the camera there. We're looking to hopefully get some questions and one from the field out there from our medic. We're checking to see if we can get that in here. In the meantime, we want to get Jean to talk about some traffic. She's been up at the Sheep Creek Lodge, and with the holiday weekend, our night supervisor, Cody Nelson, did say a lot more cars on the highway last night as people come into the area, go out to their cabins and such. Gina, I know that there's a lot of locals out there who know you now from being at Sheep Creek.
Yes.
You've been 4 or 5 days in a row, and of course, we moved our staging area out of there.
We did. Yep, we're completely out of there as of yesterday. Thanks for Molly and Jesse and Candy and crew for having us for the last few weeks, taking up their parking lot.
So to break that down, if you've driven through the fire area, mileposts 84 to 91, then you've seen from the beginning of the incident that we staged trucks, porta tanks.
Yep, fuel tanks, electric company, everybody's been staging there.
So now that we're returning to normal slowly, the little steps we've taken to help the businesses return, we cleared out yesterday, right?
Correct, yes. The only people left are Red Cross, and I'll be there later this afternoon to ask residents, answer any questions they have still.
And so congratulations to Sheep Creek after providing an amazing community service, after worrying if your lodge was burned down. We talked to the ladies a couple days ago. There was about a 4-hour window there during the blow up where they got the message that the lodge had burned. And you know, in the fog of war that happens, because there's so much smoke and so much intensity, it's such a dynamic situation. And then to come back and find out, okay, that was a save. And there were lots of those stories along the road. Some structures were consumed.
Yes.
There was no avoiding that with the wind.
Right.
But there were saves too.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen tonight at Sheep Creek?
They're going to reopen today at 2, and with a live band tonight. They'll have a limited menu. However, they're welcoming anybody and everybody.
So if you're out there and you're wondering if Sheep Creek is open this weekend, finally, 2 weeks into it, we can say, yes, Sheep Creek is back. We've moved our staging area. We're still doing our operations. I know that the Koikan Yukon crew was gridding right behind it, right?
Yes.
So gridding means they're still looking behind in the forest to look for any hot spots.
Correct.
Then we have the Midnight Suns working on that eastern bulge that goes towards Caswell Lake Road.
Correct.
And Sheep Creek. So for you residents who are in Hidden Hills wondering, that's the last piece of fire line. But this morning, Abe Davis, our field ops trainee, he's one of the fire management officers up in Fairbanks working on the fire down here, total specialist, and he said basically that area line is looking really good.
Really, yes.
So even when it shows red on the map, it doesn't mean that there's open flame and we're chasing it.
Correct.
It means that those deep burns, pockets of heat, maybe cutting out more trees, just so many trees. And when you see them on the highway stacked up, that was mechanically done out there in the woods. They have to use all their chainsaw work, keep those chainsaws running. We go through a lot of equipment to do that, a lot of bar chain oil, a lot of saw parts, and that's the logistics section.
Right.
Without them, where would we be?
Right.
Without finance making all those purchases happen, without the ordering crew putting in all those messages, without the stores in town having all those parts. Because when
it takes a large team to run this.
it's huge. It's when you have 500 firefighters, you're going to have on each crew at least 4 saws. Some crews are going to beef up to have more saws when it's this much falling. We call it either the gym jam is what it's called when you have a whole bunch of trees together, or just a straight up sort of failure of the root systems over and over again. Then that means you're cutting through trees, you're using more chain because you have more ash and dust on those trees, dulling those saws.
Right.
Lots of parts and pieces out there.
Yes, and the wood is free to the public. Just stay off the roadways as much as you can. If there's firefighters or utility companies still out there working, just make sure that you give them space and don't take the trees from that area.
Yeah, and we call it situational awareness. We are aware where you are cutting, because when we get our field ops reports back to the command post and we have our midday and evening briefings to do our pulse check, we can tell where the public is cutting, because the operations chiefs will say, yep, and we saw public out there at this area. And so we appreciate you helping us by only cutting firewood when you don't see us working or you don't see MEA working.
Correct.
That's key. We don't need, there's so much wood out there right now.
There is. It's not going to go away anytime soon.
And we're continuing to cut more.
Yes.
MEA got all the side taps on.
Yeah.
So Mark and his wife got their power on yesterday. They were one of the last. There were about 20 residences, and the final side tap and laterals were completed last night. So if you're without power at your house, it's because the meter
is melted, and they're going to have to replace those. Yes, and they'll be working on those next.
Right. So we're hopefully down to just a few people. We know it's been a long time running their generators for 11, 12 days.
Yeah.
You know, we're happy for those who finally got the power on. We're praying for those who are waiting for that last piece, just that last little connection. Hang in there.
Right.
Rely on your neighbors. There's so much outpouring of neighborhood support right now. If you need any help or assistance, leave a message here. We'll find out if it's Team Rubicon or other neighborhood networks. We have the Matsu Community Organizations Active in Disaster. That's United Way, and a group of all sorts of good Lions Club and folks in the area who have been gathering donations, not for firefighters. We're set. We're very grateful for all the stamped postcards that the crews are sending home, but then those organizations are gathering goods for the impacted people.
Right. Yeah, it's been wonderful, all the outpouring of support for everybody.
Okay, we got Mark Staples just jumped in behind the camera.
One more thing, Kale.
Yep.
So being out there at Sheep Creek the last 3 or 4 days, I've noticed people are really starting to slow down. And with the holiday weekend, we want to put a shout out to those that have slowed down and followed the 45-mile-an-hour zone. And those that are still driving a little too fast, if you could just slow down a bit and follow behind. Our crews are still on the roads working, and we've had a lot of incidents lately. So with the holiday weekend, just please drive safely, and thanks to those that already are.
It is amazing when you get into that groove of 45 and you hold it, how it calms the traffic around you. When everybody's trying to pass and get anxious, you know, there is an energy there, and we drive it. We're on the roads a lot because you're going out there every day. We're going up to Talkeetna still to trap.
Right.
We're delivering information everywhere, and it's amazing. You settle in that groove, you discipline your foot, you got to back it off, right? Driving 45 is a little uncomfortable. If you're actively driving, you're probably not driving 45.
Right.
You have to back off to keep that speed. But once you do, you get that, you feel good, you know you're calming the traffic behind you, everybody settles in.
Yeah, and pay attention. Just pay attention in front of you, behind you, around you, because there are lots of things going on and people trying to look at the fire and all of that.
Okay, sounds good. So the big question probably is, does this rain put the fire out?
No.
Absolutely no. We had 3/100ths of an inch. We're looking for more Monday, Tuesday. The sequence of events for the next couple of days. We're going to go down to Palmer today, a group of us, and brief the Northern Rockies team coming in. They all flew in last night. Their supervisors and such will be on the fire today. They'll have a full shadow day tomorrow, and then Monday they'll take the fire. We're going to have our PIO crew stay here. Public Information Officer crew is going to stay in place so that you have all the same faces out there. I'm going to take a couple days off, go to Fairbanks and see my fiance, and then come back down and be with this team. And we're just going to finish this out all together. And that's what we want to do for you. We want to make sure no lingering questions. So again, this is the McKinley Fire opportunity for you to get all of your questions answered. See Gina at Sheep Creek. Come in and see us at the community center. Leave your comments here. And Mark, thanks for running the camera. Any questions online?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. Then we'll sign off for Saturday morning. We'll get back to the command post, get busy posting all these across the venues, and we'll come back to you this evening. We'll look for your questions though. So please, whether you're live or on the rebroadcast, go ahead and publish them here. Thank you.
Thank you.